Welcome to The Newsworthy, all the day's news in less than 10 minutes. Fast, fair, fun, and on the go. Thanks so much for pressing play today. We've got what you need to know about President Trump's big speech, as well as Hurricane Maria and an earthquake in Mexico. Plus, should you download iOS 11? And there's a new dating app that's very different. That and much more, of course, all in less than 10 minutes. I'm Erica Mandy. Today is Wednesday, September 20th. You ready? Let's do this. Today is the third day at the United Nations General Assembly, that gathering in New York where world leaders and diplomats come together every year. President Trump had his big speech yesterday, so here are the highlights. He vowed to put America first. He criticized the Iran nuclear deal, and he called out certain countries for terrorism. And one of the most controversial comments, the president warned if the U.S., quote, is forced to defend itself or its allies, we will have no choice but to totally destroy North Korea. Mixed reactions to that one. Some thought, let's calm it down. CNN reports at least one UN leader worried tough talk like that can lead to deadly misunderstandings. And critics say he didn't lay out any specific proposals to fix the issues. But Fox News quotes supporters who feel no one else is as straightforward about the threats and issues we're facing. And they praised his strong words against North Korea. One more thing of note. While the White House has said the Paris Climate Agreement needs to be renegotiated, the French president just said, not gonna happen. Remember, that's the deal where each country committed to certain actions and payments in order to fight climate change. Hurricane Maria is still stronger than ever, and it's expected to hit Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands early today. People are already in shelters there and have done what they can to prepare. In fact, the Weather Channel says this one could be catastrophic, the strongest to hit Puerto Rico in decades. And of course, some places are still dealing with the effects from Hurricane Irma just 2 weeks ago. Maria already hit the island of Guadeloupe and Dominica, where NBC says even the prime minister had to be rescued. It's apparently still too early at this point to know for sure if Maria will head to the U.S. mainland. And just so you know, it is true. Experts say the hurricane season this year has been way more intense than usual. Another strong earthquake hit Mexico, this one near Mexico City. Reuters says the latest death toll is around 150 people, and it may go up again. This was a magnitude 7.1 earthquake, and the Mexican president says the country is now facing an emergency. Millions lost power, and many buildings, even a school, collapsed. Rescue workers and volunteers are digging through the rubble now. It all comes just 2 weeks after the last strong quake there. And oddly enough, Time reports this one happened exactly to the day, 32 years after an even deadlier earthquake back in 1985. Okay, a few more things to tell you about with politics. First, the Senate confirmed Noel Francisco as U.S. Solicitor General. That's the person who represents the federal government in front of the Supreme Court. And keep in mind, the Supreme Court will be taking on some pretty important cases soon on topics ranging from immigration to gay rights. The Wall Street Journal says it was a close vote for the confirmation, 50-47. Supporters say he's experienced and will be a champion for justice. Critics say his loyalty to President Trump will get in the way. There's still one last push to repeal and replace Obamacare. Reuters says the Trump administration and some top Republicans have until the end of the month to get enough votes. The new bill would basically give grants to states for healthcare insurance, but it would have to pass through Congress first, and so far, the votes aren't there. Okay, remember that whole wiretapping secret surveillance thing? A report yesterday said the government had been wiretapping the president's former campaign chairman. Well, now, the former chairman, Paul Manafort, responded. CBS News says his spokesman called on the feds to investigate who leaked it to the press, saying that type of leak is a crime. Reminder, Manafort has been under investigation related to whether or not Russia influenced last year's election. There's still a mystery in Cuba. U.S. diplomats there have had some bizarre symptoms, and now the Cuban government is saying, not it. The AP reports they're denying any involvement in what's being called some sort of sonic attack. More than 20 diplomats in Cuba have had symptoms like concussions and hearing loss, and it's been going on for months. There's now an investigation and even talk of shutting down the U.S. embassy in Cuba until at least the U.S. can figure out what's going on and who's behind this. All right, other things people may be talking about today. Apple's iOS 11 is here. It's Apple's latest operating system for the iPhone. If you have a 5S or later, you should be able to download it in your settings. You can also put it on your iPad. TechCrunch has a list of the new features, so here are some of them. They include a new control center with more options and improvements to Apple Maps. You can also record your phone's screen, and it makes it easier to share those complicated Wi-Fi passwords. We've all been there, right? CNET says, don't forget to back up your device first, and here's the hard part for me, you'll need 2 gigabytes of free space on your phone. And by the way, for those of you who are listening right now on Apple Podcasts, that app also got a fancy new upgrade. Kohls and Amazon are teaming up. Time reports Kohls will soon start taking Amazon returns, at least in LA and Chicago starting next month. It's a sign of a growing deal between the two companies. Earlier this month, we heard Kohls would start selling Amazon devices like the Echo smart speaker. And Kohls isn't the only one trying to latch on to Amazon's online shopping success. Sears made a deal earlier this year to start selling appliances on Amazon. I guess if you can't beat them, join them. All right, singles, there's a new dating app. And in fact, this one gets your not-so-single friends involved. What am I talking about? Well, the already popular app called Hinge is starting a new one called Hinge Matchmaker. It allows anyone to see which of their friends are using the app Hinge and then make recommendations for them, suggesting their friends as potential matches. And that's it. As always, read more at thenewsworthy.com. Just click show notes and find today's episode. All the stories I talked about will be right there with links. Please continue to share The Newsworthy with friends. There's even a share episode button right there on most podcast players, so it's super easy. And if you like this, please rate and review on Apple Podcasts. That lets other people know what's up and what to expect, and it's just really helpful. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you have a great Wednesday, and let's chat again tomorrow.